Hello, my beautiful people. Thanks so much for stopping by my channel. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Goretti and I'm the counselor at Butterfly Project. So as we are approaching Valentine's Day, this topic has come up. This is something that I have dealt with in my own personal life and also help many people, not just my clients, in regards to this. So this is a very big, important topic, especially when we are talking about romantic relationships, but not just that. February, for me, I always tell people it is love month all month long. And I mean, really, every day should be, a love day, especially to yourself and to your loved ones. I have done some videos on, how life is really too short and tomorrow is not a guarantee. So we really do need to live life to the fullest. That means loving ourselves and that means loving the people that are in our lives. But sometimes there is a line that gets crossed, when we love someone. So this is what I want to talk about. And also, if you haven't already done so, don't forget to hit the like button, comment down below, share this video, subscribe to this channel if you are new here, and I would love to have you here as part of this ever-growing butterfly community. So also, just a quick announcement again, I am doing a self-love workshop on February the 23rd at 6 p.m. It's going to be 2 hours. It's going to be on Zoom. It is far less cost than having one session with me, and I'm pretty much putting everything together as much as possible. I can get into 2 hours to teach you guys about self-love. This is stuff that I have taught my clients, things I have practiced myself, that has completely transformed my life. So I'll post the link for that down below as well. Okay, so attracting bad or toxic people, relationships, or situations from a place of wounding or your subconscious programming, I call it, right? And so if you guys have worked with me or watched my videos, I talk lots about the childhood subconscious programming, okay? That is what we have been programmed with, basically, in our first 6 to 10 years of life, because that is the time that we're just pretty much recording all the information into our subconscious mind from situations, people, right? The things that are in our immediate environment, things that we see and hear and experience, that all gets recorded into our brain. And then our adult life is run 95% from your subconscious mind. So this is pretty important, okay? So there could be many different things that your subconscious was programmed with that caused you to have, lack of self-love, self-worth, low self-esteem, and or possibly anxiety, or messages you got about relationships. So there's so many different kind of areas this can come from. It's not just from a lack of self-love, right? Or self-worth or self-esteem. You could be somebody who, has good, self-esteem, but your messages about relationships were not, or what your role in a relationship was maybe not positive. And so what happens is, again, 95% of our life is run by our subconscious mind. So what happens is, your subconscious mind actually, without your awareness, right? Because only 5% is conscious. You think you're in control, but really you're not. It's your subconscious mind that is in control of your life. And so if you're not aware of the programming that's in there, you'll actually be drawn to people, situations that are actually not good for you, that are toxic, that are maybe abusive, right? That could be really negative, that maybe hold you back from living, the life that you should be living. So this covers all of that. And when you're not aware of these things, you're drawn to those people. And also, even though maybe intellectually this is not good, your subconscious overrules that. Okay, and I always tell people this is at a heart level. So your subconscious at a heart level rules the fact that you might be in a toxic relationship. Okay, and so you won't be seeing, red flags. You won't be seeing signs, or if you do, you dismiss them. Okay, and you continue. So if you don't have good self-esteem, good self-love, right? If you don't have a good self-concept, if you don't know your value and your worth based on things that happen in your, childhood programming at a heart level or at a subconscious level, if you don't know these things, right, you can get stuck in toxic relationships or situations or jobs, right, that really are harming you, and you don't even realize it. You're not even aware of it, okay? And what happens, one of the things that I've done in my own personal life, and I also help my clients and have for many, many years, is to be able to not just see the signs of what that toxic environment or situation or relationship or person looks like. That's part of it, right? Education, knowledge is power. I always tell you guys that, right? And awareness is key. So awareness of what is your part in this? What are you bringing to this situation or relationship? Okay, and that's a hard pill to swallow, you guys. Trust me, I get it. I've been there, right? Where you might be a really good person, and typically this is what happens, right? You're a good person, you're very giving, you're very loving. Part of it might be in your nature, and part of it might be because you were in some sort of toxic or negative environment growing up, or you saw a negative, or toxic relationship growing up. You could have been neglected by your own parents, abandoned, not paid attention to, even with, really hardworking parents. They're really busy, and you kind of didn't get that emotional, attention and connection that you needed growing up to develop your emotional intelligence. So remember, not, your brain, not your, intellectual intelligence, but your emotional intelligence, okay? And so what tends to happen is that people growing up in those environments, whether it was bad or just, parents not around much, working, that kind of thing, what tends to happen is that you start to pay attention to all the things in your environment when you're not paid attention to, or your parents are busy or doing things, or maybe you're full on neglected or abused, or it's a very, volatile or toxic environment, or you see, relationships that way. You start to think as a child, because you don't, as a child, for 6 to 10 years, you don't have that full conscious awareness. For 6 years, you definitely don't. You don't have that conscious awareness to let you know that this has nothing to do with you. And so you start to think, because in the first 6 to 10 years, that's where we develop our sense of self. So you start to think, something's wrong with me. I'm not being paid attention to because something's wrong with me. They're fighting because something's wrong with me. I'm being abused because something's wrong with me. And then the ego comes in and says, you have to do more. You need to be better. So this is where perfectionism comes from, right? You need to do more for that person. You need to give so that you receive the love. And then you realize, the more I give, the more I do, I'm still not getting it. And you give and give and give and give, okay? And what tends to happen is, when we have this negative subconscious programming, it's like two magnets, right? We are magnetized and drawn to those people and situations that will basically recreate that situation, okay? So, typically givers are matched up with takers. People who are very selfless are matched with people who are selfish, until you do the work to change your subconscious programming. Once you do that, doesn't mean that you might not attract somebody in that is like that. That's, it's like a moth to a flame, right? They are still attracted. Toxic people are still attracted to really good people. Just like good people would be attracted to a good person. But then it's, if you've done the work, now you have that discernment within you, you have the knowledge, you have the wisdom, you know what to look out for, and you've done the work on yourself, meaning you will not tolerate that kind of behavior. So you might still attract a person or a situation or a relationship like that, but, in time, and usually very quickly, you'll be done with it. You know, you'll remove yourself from that or do something about it, because you will not put up with that. You won't settle for those things, okay, once you've actually done the work. And that work is actually to reprogram your subconscious mind. And so much of it has to do with self-love and self-concept and self-worth and self-esteem. So that is, you know, a big piece of what I'll be teaching in the workshop as well. You know, and without you having that whole, complete, solid sense of self, even if intellectually you're like, this is not good for me, I don't deserve this, right? I deserve better. It is still hard for you to actually stand up for yourself, or to take the steps needed to get yourself out of that situation, or to, you know, really set boundaries, right? So people, you know, growing up in those environments also have issues with boundaries. They don't know how to set and keep boundaries. And I always, you know, teach this, but boundaries, and I can't remember if I did a video on this, but I should, if I haven't. But with boundaries, a boundary is not really a boundary unless we enforce it, okay? And if you don't enforce the boundary, it's just complaining. And I did that for years and I had no idea, right? I knew all the information about boundaries, but to implement it, it comes from within. So much of this comes from within. This is why you see some people, you're like, that person never gets into these situations. How come I always get into these bad situations? That's why. It's the subconscious program. So we need to change the program to get you to a place, right, of not
attracting these types of people and situations, and removing yourselves.
Here's the thing. Sorry guys, I got distracted. I got a notification there on my device. But when you learn self-love, when you learn really how to be a whole, complete person on your own, you will have no problem setting boundaries, enforcing them, keeping those boundaries, and doing what you need to do, what is the most self-loving thing for you to do, and to really prioritize yourself, not in a selfish way, okay? So when I teach about self-love, it is not about being selfish. It is about being self-loving. It's like being on the plane. Put the mask on you first, because you're no good to somebody else if you're passed out, right? So it's the same kind of thing. And it's not just about self-care. There's so much more to self-love, but also to change the programming. You have negative stories if you're dealing with these kind of situations, toxic, bad people, bad situations at work, things like that. The reason is because of your subconscious program. So we need to change the program, okay? And yes, a lot of it will kind of coincide with self-love, self-worth, self-value, right? Your whole sense of self. And a lot of it, the other part, is these negative stories and beliefs that are not true and not good for you and not serving you. Okay? So we need to kind of like change the whole, you know, program. And once you do this work, like I said, even if you do attract those people, trust me, you'll deal with it. Right? You will not stay in those situations anymore. You will do what is best for you, and you won't settle, and you're not going to want to settle. Okay? And to be honest, those are the kind of people who have that good sense of self, good self-esteem, good self-love, and self-worth to set boundaries, right? You know, to prioritize themselves in a self-loving, not a selfish way. And to really not settle for less than what they know they deserve. Those people are actually the most attractive people. Okay, that is how you will attract good people, partners, relationships, you know, work situations, okay, jobs, right? You will not settle for less than what you know you truly deserve. This is something I've had to learn the hard way many times in my life. It took me 40 plus years to learn this, okay, and a lot of, you know, grief and turmoil, you know, to go through this. And really, you know, pain is the greatest teacher, right? I always tell people that. It served a purpose. But if you are dealing with any kind of negative situations, people, bad people, toxic people, bad relationships. And remember, this isn't just intimate relationships, it's across the board, right? You're in this and attracting it from a place of wounding, your wounded self, that little boy and little girl inside of you. But once you learn about this, once you shift, your self-concept, and once you reprogram your subconscious mind so you're not coming from that place of wounding, right? You basically put a new program in. Once you do that and you have new beliefs and new subconscious programming, then guess what? Your whole situations are going to change. What you allow, what you don't allow, what you attract in, it will change. I promise you. All right, my loves, I hope that this was helpful for you today. I really enjoyed doing these videos for you guys. Hopefully, if it was helpful, if it was, please share this with somebody that you think it might be helpful for. And also, like I said before, please like this video, share it, comment down below, subscribe to my channel if you're new here. I would absolutely love to have you here as part of this ever-growing butterfly community. And also, if you are interested in joining, my workshop, there is limited space as well. But if you would like to join, like I said, it is far less than having one session with me, and you will have a video recording of the entire workshop that you can go back to and watch. And if you can't make it, or if you're late, you will have that available to you. Yeah, so I will post the link for that down below. If you would like to work with me personally, one-on-one, my information is always down below as well. And you guys, happy Valentine's Day. I wish you a wonderful day. If you're not in a relationship, don't forget, it is a day to pour love, extra love, onto yourself as well. All right, my loves, thanks so much for being here, and I wish you all peace, love, and light until next time. Bye-bye.